It's a strange thing to realize that at 75 years old, I had become invisible to my own children. Not literally, of course. They could see me well enough during their monthly duty visits, but I'd long stopped being a real person to them. I was just a chore, a task slotted between doctor appointments and paying the electric bill. My name is Samuel Hawthorne, a widower, retired structural engineer, and apparently a disappointment to my offspring. My wife, Margaret, passed away 6 years ago, leaving me alone in our old house in Seattle, Washington, with 3 children who seemed to be waiting for the day they could discuss my old age without their mother's calming influence. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you're listening in the comments. Friday morning began like any other. I woke at 5:30 a.m., a habit carved from 35 years on construction sites, one I never shed even in retirement. I brewed a strong cup of coffee, ate toast with almond butter, and stepped outside to check the mail. The mailbox was stuffed with junk flyers, bills, and a letter from Seattle Savings Bank, where I keep my primary savings. Statements usually come at the start of the month, but this was only the 15th. I opened the envelope in my favorite armchair back inside. Dear Mr. Hawthorne, thank you for utilizing our line of credit. I read the line twice, my heart skipping. Line of credit, I'd never taken one. Debt wasn't my way. I always lived within my means. This year, I plan to buy a new truck to replace my old Chevy, paying cash from savings built over decades. The letter detailed a credit line of $600,000, an amount that could buy a fine house in our neighborhood. My hands shook, not from age, but from anger and fear. Someone made a terrible mistake, or worse, used my name. I called the bank immediately. After enduring hold music and assurances my call was valued, an operator answered, "Mr. Hawthorne," she said after I explained. "Our records show you visited our branch 3 weeks ago and signed all documents." "Impossible," I protested. 3 weeks ago, I was fishing with a friend in Tacoma. I have witnesses. "Sir, we have your signature and a copy of your driver's license." "It's forged," I said, voice trembling with outrage. "I demand to speak to the manager." She reluctantly agreed. Setting an appointment for the next day, I hung up, heart racing. Who could have done this, stolen my identity, taken a 6-figure loan, and hoped I wouldn't notice an hour later? My phone rang. My daughter Sophia's name flashed on the screen. Odd timing. "Dad," her voice was unusually bright. "Victor and I want to come over for dinner tomorrow. Just a casual visit to check on you." Sophia and her husband, Victor, always came the last Saturday of the month, never sooner or later. This mid-month visit raised my suspicions even higher. "Of course, dear," I replied, keeping my tone light. "I'll be happy to see you." Hanging up, I sank into my chair. Sophia's a real estate agent. Victor's a financial advisor. They've always lived extravagantly, always complaining they couldn't afford their dream home. Now, a loan in my name appears, and Sophia plans a sudden visit. Coincidence, I doubted it. Sophia was always a challenging child, even young. She treated me with faint disdain, preferring her mother's company. After Margaret died, she stopped hiding her irritation. Every piece of advice I gave was seen as control. Every comment, criticism. "Dad, you're 75, she'd say when I offered thoughts on her career. "Times have changed. Your old ways don't work anymore." I learned to stay quiet during her rants about how tough it was living in a rented condo, how unfair it was that others had luxury homes while they scraped by. Truth was, they didn't save. New cars, designer clothes, 3 vacations a year. Money slipped through their fingers, and they blamed everyone but themselves. Victor was like her, tall, with perfectly styled hair and a practiced smile. He called me sir, but his eyes said, "When will you leave us alone once?" I overheard them when they thought I was dozing. "How long does he have left?" Victor whispered. "Not sure," Sophia replied. "His dad lived to 90. That's 15 more years." God. Victor sighed. 15 years in that old shack while we could have... They stopped when I shifted. That shack was my home, built with 25 years of hard work. I designed it, oversaw every nail. It's where my kids grew up, where I shared happy years with Margaret. Not modern luxury, but sturdy, spacious, full of memories. My other sons, Ethan and Lucas, weren't much better. Living in other cities, they called monthly, checking it off like a task. Programmed. They asked about my health, mentioned their kids and jobs, then ended the call, citing busyness. My grandkids saw me as a relic. Ethan's daughter, Lily, once asked if there was no internet in my day. Shocked I knew how to use a tablet. "Wow. Grandpa, you're so advanced for your age," she said, like praising a dog for a trick. But I wasn't the helpless old man they imagined. I could still build a house from foundation to roof, fix most breakdowns, read modern novels, and keep up with news. To them, my age erased all that. That night, sleep wouldn't come. The thought that Sophia might have taken a loan in my name felt absurd, yet terrifyingly real. How could she forge my signature? How could the bank believe I'd suddenly borrow such a sum? Morning came, and I went to the bank. Manager Mr. Baxter, about 40 with a neat mustache and sharp suit, met me with polite skepticism. "Mr. Hawthorne, I understand your concern, but the paperwork's in order," he said, flipping through my file. "Here's your signature and ID copy." He showed me. The signature looked like mine, but I hadn't signed. Next to it, my driver's license. "Forgery," I said firmly. "I never authorized this." "Mr." Baxter sighed, hands clasped. "Sir, you were here June 15th, a Wednesday, with a woman claiming to be your daughter. You spoke with our loan officer, Miss Thompson. I was in town that day. Sophia took me to brunch. A rare gesture. She was unusually attentive, even drove me home." Now I saw why. "Can I speak to Miss Thompson?" I asked. "Of course," he said, calling her. A young woman entered, nodded at me. "Yes, this is the client I worked with." She confirmed. "Mr. Hawthorne and his daughter applied for a real estate loan." "I've never met you," I exclaimed. "Is this a mistake or—" I paused, not accusing outright. Miss Thompson looked shocked. "Sir, we talked for over an hour. You wanted to help your daughter buy a house." I shook my head, anger rising. I'm a retired engineer, never borrowed a cent. Why, at 75 would I take $600? 000. They exchanged glances. "You said you wanted to help your daughter," Miss Thompson repeated. "Your credit and assets made approval easy. Someone impersonated me." I insisted. "Sophia likely found a look-alike. Or—" I stopped, knowing it sounded wild. "Mr. Hawthorne." "Mr." Baxter said calmly. "Perhaps you forgot. At your age, I can tell truth from lies." "Young man," I snapped, "I'm filing a police report for fraud and identity theft." "Mr." Baxter straightened. "That's your right, sir. But if the investigation shows you signed and are now backing out, there could be consequences." I stood, leaning on my cane, used since a minor fall last winter. I'm ready for any consequences. Truth's on my side. I left to prepare for Sophia's visit. Driving home, I wondered how she pulled it off. A stand-in, access to my documents. Where did the money go? That evening, Victor's silver BMW pulled into my driveway. I decided no scene, no hint I knew. Truth first. Sophia entered with a bakery box, tense despite her wide smile. Victor followed with wine. "Dad," she kissed my cheek. "You look good for your age," Victor said with a chuckle. "Just fine," Sophia corrected, shooting him a look. I invited them to the dining room. Table set with simple grilled salmon and vegetables. Sophia fussed over plates. "Dad, why these old dishes? We gave you a new set for Christmas." "Habit," I said. "Old dogs don't learn new tricks." Victor laughed too loudly. "True. But change is good." "Right. Samuel." He'd never used my first name before. Always sir. The familiarity heightened my suspicions. "How's the house hunt?" I asked at the table. Sophia nearly choked on her wine. "Oh, you remember we're still looking. Market's tough." "Prices are climbing," Victor added. "But we're optimistic." "Right." I nodded. "I was at the bank today." Silence. Sophia froze. Fork midair. "The bank?" she asked. "Why got a strange letter about a $600,000 loan I supposedly took?" Imagine Victor gave a nervous laugh. "Wow. Must be a mistake." "Exactly." I said. "Someone used my name, posed as me at the bank." Sophia set her glass down hard, spilling wine. "That's awful. Did you go to the police tomorrow?" I lied. "Watching them. The bank's investigating. They have security footage, signature experts. The culprits won't get far." Sophia paled. Victor tapped fingers nervously. "Dad, maybe don't worry." Sophia tried to smile. "Stress is bad for your heart at your age. I can handle the bank paperwork." "No need, dear," I said, patting her hand. "I'm capable. Plus, a friend in the police promised to handle it personally." A bluff. But their reactions were telling. Police Victor blanched. "Maybe it's a mix-up. Deal with the bank first." "No," I said. "Clear fraud, forged signature, impersonation, serious crime." Dinner continued tensely. They barely ate, exchanging glances. They left after dessert, citing early plans. When the door closed, I sank into my chair. No doubt Sophia stole my identity, took a massive loan, but where was the money next day? I called Harold Jenkins, a retired colleague turned private investigator, specializing in cheating spouses and insurance scams. "Harold, I need help," I said, explaining. "Good Lord, Samuel," he grumbled. "Your own daughter." "Sure, pretty sure," I said. "Need proof and where the money went." "I'll look into it," Harold promised. "Give me a few days." I hung up, staring out the window. It was a bright spring day, but I felt heavy. How had it come to this? My daughter stealing from me, my failure as a parent, or a world teaching money outweighs family. The phone rang. Seattle Savings Bank. I let it ring out. Too many emotions to talk now. I needed facts first, then action. That's how I'd always worked: methodical, thorough. 35 years in construction taught me haste collapses the strongest structures. 4 days later, Harold called. "Samuel, I've got info. Let's meet in person." We chose a quiet diner on Seattle's outskirts, far from Sophia's preferred upscale spots. Harold looked much as he did 25 years ago. Stout, silver mustache, sharp eyes, though wrinkles deepened and his back hunched slightly. He set a thick folder on the table. "You were right. My friend. Your daughter and her husband pulled off a scheme. He opened the folder photos, document copies, printouts. The money bought a house in Bellevue, Seattle's poshest area, $550,000. The other $50,000 went to furnishings and expenses. He showed a photo of a stunning two-story mansion with white columns and manicured lawns. The deal closed 5 days ago, titled to Victor Landon. Not Sophia, just her husband. That hurt. Victor protected himself with sole ownership, in case of divorce or trouble. Sophia's so blind to him she misses the obvious. How'd she do it? Harold. How'd she impersonate me? He sighed, pulling another document. Here's the kicker. Sophia has your power of attorney. Samuel, a general one, letting her act for you in most financial matters. What? My face drained. I never gave her that. Records say you signed it with Patricia Hayes, notary, on November 20th last year. I thought back. November 20th. Sophia took me to a cardiologist for a blood pressure spike. On the way, she stopped at a notary for papers she said were for a client's house sale. She tricked me, I said slowly. I signed, thinking it was for her work. Needing a witness. Harold nodded. Classic scam. Exploiting an elder's trust. You're not the first. Samuel. Who else was at the notary? Another witness, Lucas, Harold said. Your middle son. That hit harder. Not just Sophia, but Lucas too. A family conspiracy, I smiled bitterly. Who else knows, just Sophia? Lucas, Victor. It seems your eldest, Ethan, shows no involvement. I sipped cold coffee, calming myself. So, Sophia used a fake power of attorney to get a loan in my name. Lucas helped with the papers. The money bought Victor's house. Now they have a mansion. And I have $600,000 in debt I'll pay till I die. Unless I prove fraud. What does the notary say? I asked. Talk to her tried. Harold said, Miss. Hayes quit 3 months ago. Moved to Florida. Left no contact. Very convenient, I said. Too convenient. Harold agreed. I'll dig deeper. Maybe Sophia paid her off. We sat quietly. A young couple laughed over phones nearby. Carefree, happy. Margaret and I were like that once. What now? Samuel Harold asked. Good question. I could go to the police. File fraud charges. Sophia might get probation as a first offender. Lucas, too. Victor could claim ignorance and escape. The house would be sold to clear the debt. But it'd mean a public scandal. My kids, criminals. Me, an old man duped by his own. Humiliating. Proof was another hurdle. The power of attorney looked legitimate. My signature, or a good fake, was on everything. The notary vanished. The bank believed I signed in person. I need a lawyer. I said, Got a recommendation, Benjamin Caldwell, Harold said without hesitation. Worked with him on cases. Specializes in fraud and family law. Perfect for you. I jotted down the name and number. Harold gathered the papers, handed me copies. Originals are in my safe for court if needed. Thanks. Harold. What do I owe? He waved it off. Consider it a favor for covering my mistake on the Bellevue Square Foundation 35 years ago. I smiled. I remember good deeds. He patted my shoulder. Keep me posted. Be careful with Sophia and Victor. People like that get dangerous when cornered. Driving home, I felt a strange mix of anger, frustration, and relief. I knew what happened. Uncertainty is worse than bitter truth. At home, I spread Harold's papers on the table. The house photos were impressive, a grand colonial with a pool and 4-car garage. Sophia's dream. Bought at my expense. The sale contract confirmed Victor as sole owner. The loan papers bore my name, with Sophia's signature as trustee. She didn't even forge my signature, just used the power of attorney. I called Benjamin Caldwell and set a meeting for the next day. Then I did what always helped me think, took out an old notebook and wrote plans, options, consequences. Plan A, file charges. Pros, justice, debt cleared. Cons, public shame, family scandal, proof issues. Plan B, private settlement. Pros, no publicity. Dignity saved. Cons, Sophia and Victor may not cooperate. No repayment guarantee. Plan C sparked an idea. The fraudulent power of attorney was still valid. I could use it against them. The doorbell interrupted. Lucas, my middle son, stood there, rarely visiting unannounced. Dad, he smiled awkwardly, was nearby. Thought I'd stop in. Come in. I stepped aside silently. Lucas looked tense. At 45, he was balding, gray in his dark hair. An insurance job and a failing marriage aged him fast. What's up, Dad, he asked, sitting across from me. Fine, I said, staring. You. Okay, he said, avoiding my eyes, just checking in. Sophia said you had a nice dinner. Yeah. Pleasant, I replied. Been a while since we went to the notary. Last time was when November Lucas flinched. He was always a poor liar. Yeah. Don't recall exactly. November 20th, I prompted. You and Sophia took me to Patricia Hayes. Remember what I signed? Lucas paled. Some papers for Sophia's client. A power of attorney. Lucas, a general one letting her handle my finances. Used to take a $600,000 loan in my name. He gaped. Either clueless or a better actor than I thought. Dad, I didn't know about the loan, I swear. Sophia said it was for your safety, in case something happened. You believed her. Why not? She's your daughter. I shook my head. And you're my son. Yet you helped her trick me. Lucas jumped up. I didn't know her plan. I thought it was for your good. My good, I repeated. A $600,000 debt at 75 is for my good debt. He looked shocked. What debt? Sophia took a loan in my name. I'll pay it my whole life, or it'll fall to you kids, unless you disinherit. Lucas collapsed back. Jesus, I didn't know. Dad, I swear. Maybe he was honest. Lucas was always the weakest, easily swayed, especially by Sophia, who manipulated him since childhood. What'd she pay you? I asked. Nothing, he said, offended. She said it was for your safety, that you're forgetful. Forgetful, I scoffed. I recall every spec for the 50 buildings I designed, every grandkid's birthday, even your 7th grade locker number 315. Lucas bowed his head. I'm sorry. Dad, I should have checked you knew what you signed. Yes, you should have, I agreed. What do you know about the Bellevue house? He looked surprised. Bellevue, nothing. Why, Sophia and Victor bought a house there with the loan money. A house, he seemed confused. They said they couldn't afford a decent condo. They lied to you too. The next 4 days were a whirlwind of preparation. Benjamin Caldwell was a legal genius. He filed an urgent court motion challenging the transaction's legality, securing a temporary injunction giving me house access until resolved. Judge Wilkins favors elderly fraud victims, Benjamin said over the phone Thursday night. He signed the order today. We'll get the keys tomorrow morning. That fast, I was stunned. Temporary, Benjamin clarified. Not a win yet. Just use of the house until the ruling. It gives us leverage for talks. Friday morning. Benjamin arrived with a small box containing 2 shiny keys. "Congratulations on your housewarming," he smiled. "One condition: you must live there, or the order's void." "No problem," I said, weighing the keys. "I've packed." The night before, I gathered essentials: clothes, toiletries, meds, a few books, and Margaret's silver-framed photo. All fit in one suitcase and a bag. "Not much for 75 years. "Sure you can handle it?" Benjamin asked, concerned. Confrontation could get heated. "I can." I nodded. "I've faced tough talks before. 35 years managing crews teaches you to stand firm." Benjamin helped load my things into his car, and we drove to Bellevue. He explained the legalities technically. "Your son-in-law owns the house, but the loan's in your name, so you're liable. We're challenging the loan's validity due to the fraudulent power of attorney. If proven, the loan's voided, and the bank reclaims the house. If not, we'll try criminal charges or a civil suit. For now, we surprise them and push for negotiation." Bellevue was as expected: pristine lawns, grand homes behind hedges, luxury cars in driveways, a neighborhood screaming wealth. Number 22 Maple Lane stood out even among the mansions. 2 stories, white columns, huge windows, like a small White House. The driveway was cobblestone, with a marble fountain in the yard, still dry. "Impressive." Benjamin whistled. "Parking. Your daughter has expensive taste. Always wanted more than she could afford," I said, struggling out of his low sports car. My cane caught, and I nearly fell. "Careful." Benjamin steadied me. "Don't get hurt before the show starts." The front door, solid oak with stained glass, opened smoothly with the key. Inside was even grander: a marble-floored foyer, wide staircase, crystal chandelier. The furniture was new, costly. Tasteful leather sofas, antique tables, designer lamps. "They've furnished it already," I noted, moving to the living room. "With your money," Benjamin reminded me. We toured the first-floor living room, dining room, kitchen, study, even a small theater with a projector and plush seats. Upstairs, the master bedroom took up a third of the floor, with a massive bed, walk-in closet, and a bathroom bigger than my old kitchen. "This'll be my room," I said, setting my suitcase by the bed. "Great choice," Benjamin grinned. "Master bedroom for the true master." I unpacked, placing clothes in empty drawers and Margaret's photo on the nightstand. Benjamin checked the kitchen fridge. "Stocked already," he said as I came down. "Probably for a housewarming party. Enough food for days." "Good." I nodded. "No need to shop." Benjamin checked his watch. "I've got a meeting soon." "You okay alone?" "Yes," I assured. "Just waiting for guests." "It's my house, right?" Benjamin smiled, shook my hand. "Technically, until the court decides. Call if there's trouble, and don't escalate. We want talks, not war." Alone in the vast house. It felt strange, knowing it was bought with stolen funds. I wandered, noting details: Sophia and Victor's photos on walls, vacations in exotic places, galas, fine restaurants. Not one of me or Margaret. No trace of the family that raised them. In the study, I found a safe behind a painting. Predictable, locked. But I wondered what they hid: deeds, jewelry, cash. A desk folder held the house deeds, confirming Victor as sole owner. Sophia wasn't even a co-owner. An odd choice for a married couple. Or maybe not for a man planning an exit. Time dragged. I settled in the living room with a book from the shelf, an unread thriller bought for show. The sun moved, casting long shadows through big windows. At 3:00 p.m., a car pulled up. Victor's silver BMW. Showtime. I adjusted my tie, wearing my best suit, reserved for weddings and funerals. I smoothed my gray hair and stood by the door, cane for effect. The keys jingled, and Sophia and Victor entered, arms full of food and drink bags. They didn't see me at first. Busy talking. Enough champagne, I think. Sophia said. Lucas promised ice and... She stopped, spotting me, her face frozen in shock. A bag slipped, and a champagne bottle shattered on the marble floor. Daddy, her voice barely audible. Hello, Sophia. I smiled. Hello, Victor. Welcome to my new home. Or is it yours? I'm confused. Victor reacted first, face twisting with anger. What the hell, how'd you get in with a key? I said, showing the keychain. Nice lock, by the way. Good choice. Where'd you get those keys? Sophia managed. Dad, what's going on? Oh, you know exactly, I said, stepping into the champagne puddle. I got an interesting bank letter about a $600,000 loan I supposedly took. Funny, since I've never borrowed in my life. Sophia paled further. Dad, I can explain. I'm sure. I nodded. You've always had excuses. Remember taking my credit card at 16 or selling Mom's jewelry at 22 while we were away? That's different, Sophia protested. We were going to explain, just waiting for the right time. Really, I raised an eyebrow. When a year 5 after I'm gone, Victor stepped forward, trying to intimidate. Look, Samuel, you've no right here. This is my house. I can call the police. Go ahead. I shrugged. I'd love to tell them how my kids forged a power of attorney to take a $600,000 loan in my name. They'll find it fascinating. Guests arrived gradually. Sophia and Victor tried to keep control, smiling, greeting friends and family, giving house tours. But their tension was clear, stiff movements, anxious glances. When asked about me, Sophia repeated a lie I was there to help with the housewarming, offer setup advice. I didn't contradict or confirm, letting it hang like a threat. Lucas avoided my eyes, sipping whiskey nervously. His wife, Emily, unaware of details, looked confused by my presence in a house her husband never mentioned. My eldest, Ethan, arrived with his wife, Abigail, and their 2 teens. Ethan was genuinely happy to see me, giving a warm hug, rare in years. Dad, didn't expect you here. He smiled. New suit, old, I said, saved for special occasions. Ethan, a college math teacher, chose a modest, honorable path, never chasing wealth. Maybe that's why he respected me more. No envy or inheritance weight. How are you, Pop? He asked, pulling me aside. Been a while, sorry. Work, kids. I get it. I nodded. We've all got burdens. How long have you known about Sophia's place? Ethan asked, looking around. Surprised. Didn't think they could afford this. His genuine bewilderment confirmed he wasn't in on the scam. A relief at least not all my kids betrayed me. I'll tell you more later, I said, when everyone's here. By 6:00 p.m., the house was full. About 25 people, my kids and families. Sophia's real estate colleagues, Victor's clients, new neighbors, even local reporters covering the housewarming of a successful advisor and his wife. Sophia grew more nervous, glancing at me, anticipating my move. Victor was bolder but uneasy, laughing too loudly, drinking heavily, boasting about the house. This is real mahogany from Brazil, he bragged, pointing to the study's wood paneling. Cost a fortune, But Sophia and I don't skimp on quality. You don't skimp on honesty either. Right. Victor, I said, slipping behind him. He flinched, turning with a strained smile. Of course. Samuel. Absolutely. Guests sensed the tension, but dismissed it as a family spat. As everyone gathered in the living room for a toast, I knew my moment had come. Sophia stood center, champagne glass in hand, ready to speak. Victor stood close, arm possessively around her waist. The picture of a perfect couple unless you knew the truth. Dear friends and family, Sophia began, voice trembling. Victor and I are thrilled to welcome you to our new home, a dream come true after years of work. May I interrupted, raising my glass. I'd like to say a few words. Sophia froze, face ashen. Victor tightened his grip, steadying her. Of course, Daddy. She forced a smile. Please. I stepped to the center, leaning on my cane. Eyes on me, an old man in a sharp suit. Back straight, gaze clear. For those who don't know me, I began, scanning the room. I'm Samuel Hawthorne, Sophia's father, and I have much to share about this beautiful house. I paused, letting the moment sink in. Sophia and Victor stood like statues, smiles frozen. This house is special, I continued. Know why it was bought with money borrowed in my name, without my knowledge or consent. Silence fell, so deep you could hear a faucet drip. Guests' faces showed shock, confusion, disbelief. Daddy. Sophia stepped forward, voice pleading. You don't know what you're saying. Maybe you should rest. I know exactly what I'm saying. I cut in. My lawyer has the proof. Sophia, using a forged power of attorney, took a $600,000 loan in my name to buy this house, which, by the way, is in Victor's name only, not theirs together. Guests whispered, stunned. A reporter scribbled furiously, sensing a scoop. Samuel. Victor stepped forward, face angry. You're out of line. This isn't true, and you know it. We paid for this ourselves. Did you? I raised an eyebrow. Then why's the loan in my name? Why's my signature on it? Dated when I was fishing in Tacoma. Why'd the notary who certified the power of attorney vanish? Gasps from the crowd. Lucas looked ready to collapse. Ethan frowned, eyes shifting from me to Sophia. Sophia. Ethan's voice was calm but firm. Is this true? Sophia opened her mouth, unable to speak. Tears welling, makeup smearing. It's a lie, Victor snapped. Your father's unhinged, jealous of our success. Jealous, I laughed, of your deceit, your forgery skills, or stealing from your own family. The reporter wrote at lightning speed. This was bigger than expected. Let's all calm down. Abigail, Ethan's wife, said, maybe it's a misunderstanding. No misunderstanding. I said, I have proof and a court order letting me stay here until this is resolved. I'm here as the rightful owner, not a guest. Sophia found her voice. Dad, please, she trembled. Let's talk later. Privately, not here. When I asked, when you decide the time's right. No. Sophia, truth doesn't wait. It just is. I faced the guests. I'm sorry for this shock. I didn't mean to ruin the evening. But truth matters more than politeness. This house was bought with fraud. I hope to settle this quietly, but know I plan to live here for the rest of my life, in a home paid for by me, not my kids who see me as a burden. A heavy pause. Guests began leaving, murmuring apologies, awkward goodbyes. Reporters lingered, their glances promising headlines. Only family remained, and the storm broke. How could you? Sophia screamed, face twisted with rage and shame. You ruined our reputation, destroyed years of work. I raised my eyebrows. I didn't take a loan in someone else's name. I didn't cheat my own father. Sophia! Ethan approached, face serious. Is it true? Did you do what Dad says? Sophia looked down, unable to meet his eyes. We were going to fix it, she muttered. We'd pay the loan ourselves. He'd never know. My God. Ethan stepped back, shocked and disgusted. You stole from your own father. Don't be dramatic, Victor cut in, annoyed. We didn't steal. We used his credit for better terms. We'd handle payments. And if you couldn't, Ethan asked, lost your job or found it too hard, who'd pay? Then Dad Victor stayed silent, his silence louder than words. Lucas, quiet until now, spoke. It's my fault too, he said softly. I helped with the power of attorney. I didn't know its purpose, but I should have. Ethan stared at him, incredulous. You too, what's our family become? Sophia sobbed, shoulders shaking. We just wanted a better life. She cried, tired of renting while others had homes. Earn it, Ethan said. Like normal people. Abigail and I saved 12 years for our house. It's simpler than this, but it's ours. Honestly earned. I watched, detached. My kids fought like they did as children, but the stakes were higher. $600, 000, and our family's name. What now, Emily? Lucas's wife asked, looking at me warily. Will you sue? That's up to Sophia and Victor, I said. I've offered a way out. Sign the house to me. Take the loan payments. And publicly say I bought it. You just helped. If they agree, we settle quietly. And if not, Ethan asked, then a trial, civil and criminal, forgery, fraud, identity theft, serious charges. Sophia looked at me, tears streaming. Would you really send your daughter to jail? Would you condemn your father to $600, 000 debt at 75? I countered. We're both capable of more than we thought. Silence hung heavy. Victor laughed, a dry, humorless sound. The funny thing, he said, looking around, if we'd asked Samuel for a down payment, he'd probably have said yes. But Sophia was sure he'd refuse. Too greedy, too controlling. So we chose this. He was right. If they'd asked, I'd have helped not with $600, 000, but a down payment. Likely. I always wanted my kids happy, successful. But Sophia chose deceit. Now what Lucas asked, eyes shifting. Do we just break apart, stop being family? The question lingered. Could I forgive this betrayal, rebuild trust? Let's all calm down, Ethan said. Too emotional for decisions now. Fair, I agreed. Sophia, Victor, you have until Tuesday to accept my offer. After that, I go to court. Where do we live? Sophia asked, voice lost. Your old place. I shrugged. The rented condo, or stay here as my guests, under my rules. Victor snorted. We won't live in our own house on borrowed time. My house, I corrected, bought with money in my name. Daddy, Mia, Ethan's granddaughter, spoke up, quiet until now. Can I visit sometimes? It's so nice here. All turned to the teen, her eyes curious, maybe admiring, no judgment. Of course, dear, I smiled. You're always welcome. Cool. Mia grinned. You've got the coolest grandpa house I know. Her simple words eased the tension. A few smiled faintly. We should go, Ethan said, arm around Mia. Dad, you okay? Need anything? I'm fine, I assured. Got all I need. I'll call tomorrow. he promised. We'll talk. They left slowly. Lucas and Emily first. Silent. Ethan's family lingered, offering support. Sophia and Victor last. Where's our stuff? Victor asked. Tired. Take personal items, I said. Everything else stays. They returned with 2 suitcases after 45 minutes. Sophia, red-eyed, stopped at the door. Daddy, I didn't mean for this to happen. Neither did I said honestly. But you chose. Sophia, live with it. They left. I was alone in the echoing, luxurious house. A victory, but joyless. Only the bitter satisfaction of justice. The next morning brought surprises. Ethan called. Dad, seen the paper? He asked. No, I said. What's in it? Front page story on last night's housewarming. Headline: Bellevue family scandal. Daughter tricks father into loan. I sighed. Reporters moved fast. How bad? Detailed. Ethan said. Sophia and Victor look bad. You're the noble father betrayed. An hour later, Lucas appeared, looking sleepless. Dad, I'm here to apologize. Truly, what we did, what I helped, is unforgivable. I waited silently. I spoke to a lawyer. He continued. I face accessory to fraud probation, a fine, maybe jail. I'm ready for punishment. But first, I'm sorry to you. I was surprised. Lucas, the weakest, easily led, showed unexpected honesty, taking responsibility. I appreciate that. Lucas, I said, it's a start. I'll testify against Sophia and Victor if needed, he added. I'll tell the truth. I saw remorse mixed with fear of consequences. Jail, losing his job, his reputation. But wasn't that what I wanted for them to see? Actions have weight. Mia, Ethan's granddaughter, came for lunch. A 17-year-old with teal hair and bracelets galore. Hi, Grandpa, she said. Backpack slung. Thought I'd visit. Okay, sure, I said, delighted. Mia was always my favorite, bright, independent, opinionated. Awesome house, she said, looking around. Shame Sophia's like that. Sophia like I offered. She laughed. Yeah. Remember my 13th birthday? She gave me a puzzle. Then told Mom I was rude for not loving it. I smiled, recalling, Sophia always thought she knew best. Stay for lunch, I asked. If it's cool. She grinned. I'll help cook. Then tell me about your travels. Dad said you worked all over. I'd love to. I agreed. We spent the afternoon together, me sharing stories of projects worldwide. People met. Adventures had. Mia listened. Asked smart questions. Shared her dream to be an archaeologist, uncovering ancient secrets. Grandpa, before leaving. I'm glad you're here now, closer than your old place. I'll visit more. I hugged her, feeling warmth. Maybe this scandal had a silver lining, real bonds with my grandkids, unlike with my kids. That evening, Benjamin called. How'd the reveal go? Loud but effective. I said, Sophia and Victor are out. Public's on my side. Lucas will testify against them. Great, he said. Strengthens our position. Sophia called me. Wants to meet Tuesday to discuss terms. Agree to mine mostly, but she wants clarity. Like what happens to the house after you're gone. I chuckled. Even now, she's thinking inheritance. Tell her I plan to live 25 more years, and my estate's my business. Gladly, Benjamin said, smiling through the phone. See you Tuesday. 3 months after that dramatic night, life had transformed. At the Tuesday meeting, Sophia and Victor accepted my terms with little fight. The house was deeded to me. They took on loan payments. and a public statement in the same paper that ran the scandal said I bought the house. They just assisted. Victor was stone-faced, avoiding my eyes. Sophia faked remorse, but anger simmered in her gaze. They signed and left without a goodbye. I haven't seen or heard from them since. Only bank notices of their payments. Ethan, unlike Sophia, stayed in touch. He said Victor lost major clients after the scandal. His financial reputation tarnished. Who trusts a man who cheated his father-in-law? Sophia switched real estate agencies. Shunned by peers. Clients refusing her. They sold their luxury car. Moved to a modest apartment to manage payments. I didn't gloat, but felt no pity. They chose this path. Now they walk it. Lucas escaped harsh punishment with a full confession and cooperation. Probation, a fine, but he kept his insurance job. We talked more weekly calls, occasional dinners with his wife. A new respect in his demeanor. Absent before. The biggest change was my life. A 75-year-old widower used to a quiet old house. I became a local figure in Seattle. The story of a father betrayed by his daughter spread. Some saw me as a hero against ageism, others a pitiable victim. All were curious. Bellevue neighbors were unexpectedly kind. Victoria Hargrove, a mayor's widow across the street, visited first with homemade cake, inviting me to a weekly book club. "We need a man's view on books," she said, eyeing me. "Most are women my age. You'll bring freshness," I agreed, though no literary scholar. The first meeting amazed me. 7 women, 3 men, all over 65, debating a new novel with passion and depth. Like a college seminar, they analyzed symbols, compared it to classics. "What's your take?" Samuel Victoria asked at the discussion's peak. "I'm an engineer, not a critic," I said. "I care about structure over symbols. This book's well built, logical, tension balanced, like a good bridge." A pause. Then laughter, not mocking, but delighted, as if I'd said something clever. Fresh perspective. Victoria nodded. Just what we needed. I became a regular. The books opening my mind, showing me the world anew, valuing literature's depth beyond plot. Another surprise, Theodore Bennett, a retired design professor, invited me to a local chess club meeting twice weekly at the Bellevue Community Center. "Heard you're an engineer," he said. "Good at strategy, spatial thinking. You'd make a fine player." I hadn't played since college, but tried. I lost early games badly, but slowly regained old skills, learned new ones. A month later, I held my own against average players. Chess and books were new passions, unlike my old routine of sparse kid visits. Granddaughter Mia kept her promise, visiting often after school, doing homework in my study, chatting about history and archaeology. She sometimes stayed over in a guest room. Her brother Noah, 15 and reserved, started coming too, especially after discovering the home theater. "Can I watch a movie with friends?" he asked one day. Hesitant. "Sure," I said. Not too loud, not too late. He lit up, called his pals. That night, my house filled with youthful laughter, cheers, and movie debates. I sat in my study, smiling. The house felt alive. Ethan and Abigail visited more, sometimes as a family, sometimes just them. Like a date. "Dad." Ethan said one visit. "I've never seen you this happy. Not even with Mom." I thought about it. Was I happy with Margaret? Absolutely. We loved, raised kids, built a life. But that happiness carried duty, responsibility, expectations. Now, at 75, I felt truly free from others' demands, from guilt over not giving my kids everything, from fear of being a burden. Maybe you're right, I told Ethan. Maybe I needed this to find real freedom. I hadn't heard from Sophia, but one day a letter arrived. No return address. Inside, a postcard of Puget Sound with a note. I'm sorry. Not for the house, but for what's between us. Sophia's handwriting, unsigned. I didn't respond. Some bridges burned too far to rebuild. Victor per Lucas blamed Sophia entirely. Their marriage was crumbling under financial strain and mutual accusations. They sold more luxuries to cover payments and old debts from living beyond their means. They're near divorce. Lucas said one visit. Victor claims it was Sophia's idea. He didn't know the power was fake. Sophia says he pushed for a big house. Status address. What do you think I asked? Lucas shrugged. Both guilty. Both got what they deserved. I couldn't argue. Sophia and Victor lived for show, driven by ambition to outshine their status. When it collapsed, their marriage had nothing left. 4 months after the ordeal began, I hosted a barbecue in my new backyard. I invited neighbors, chess and book club friends, Ethan's family, Lucas and Emily. No invite for Sophia or Victor, but I wouldn't stop them if they came. The day was warm, sunny. The patio, pool, and grill area were perfect. Mia helped set up tables, chairs, and decorations, lights, and flowers. Grandpa, this'll be the best party, she said, pinning the last light. Shame Grandma can't see it. I smiled, imagining Margaret's reaction to me in this grand house with new friends. She'd be shocked, I said, but she'd love it. Guests arrived after 3:00. Victoria brought her famous berry tart. Theodore, a fine bourbon. Ethan's family came early to help. Lucas and Emily with salads and appetizers. Harold Jenkins, my detective friend, showed up. Couldn't miss it, he said, shaking my hand. Wanted to see you settled. The party was a hit. People of all ages mingled, laughed, enjoyed food and drinks. Noah and friends splashed in the pool. Adults debated books, politics, local news. I moved between groups, feeling like the master of my home and life. Harold pulled me aside. Samuel, when you came to me, I thought this'd end in scandal and heartbreak. But look, you found a new life. I did. I agreed. Though the cost was high, sometimes freedom's expensive, Harold said philosophically, especially from toxic ties. He was right. I lost Sophia, or the illusion of a bond that never truly was. But I gained real connections with other family, new friends, new passions, and self-respect. As the sun set, we lit garden lanterns, and the party continued. Music played. Couples danced on the patio. Victoria asked me to dance. Don't just stand there. Samuel, she smiled. The host must dance. I hadn't danced since Margaret, but my body remembered. We moved to a slow tune, guests' approving glances warming me. You're full of surprises. Samuel, Victoria said after. Who knew an engineer could dance so well had a great teacher? I said, thinking of Margaret. She loved dancing. Lucky woman, Victoria said seriously. Not everyone finds a partner willing to learn. The party lasted late. After the last guest left, I sat in the yard, staring at the stars. Ethan joined me. Great night. Dad. Everyone loved it. Yeah, pretty good. I agreed. We talked, enjoying the quiet, cool air. Do you miss Sophia? He asked suddenly. I pondered. Did I miss the daughter who saw me as a burden, then stole from me? I miss what we never had. I said, a real father-daughter bond, built on love and respect. But the Sophia I knew, no. Ethan nodded. Sometimes family ties are toxic, he said quietly. Cutting them brings relief, not pain. Exactly, I said. Liberation. We sat longer, talking about his kids, his work, life. After he left, I stayed under the stars, reflecting on fate's twists. Who'd have thought at 75 my life would change so drastically? Sophia's betrayal led to a new family, not just blood, but friends who became close. New hobbies, joys, meaning. The house, bought with stolen money, became my symbol of freedom. Here, I wasn't a lonely old man. I was Samuel Hawthorne, with a past and a future, friends and passions, my own voice, my own choices. The next morning, I woke with peace I hadn't felt in years. I sipped coffee on the terrace, watching the garden wake. Birds sang. The sun rose, painting the sky soft orange. At 9:00, the doorbell rang. A mail carrier with a large envelope. Mr. Hawthorne registered letter. Sign here. I signed, took it, from Seattle Savings Bank. Inside, a notice Sophia and Victor missed the last loan payment. I sighed, unsurprised. Their financial troubles were growing. Responsibility never their strength. I called Benjamin. They missed a payment, I said. What now? They have 45 days to pay before foreclosure starts, he said. Expected. Frankly, Victor lost his job 3 weeks ago. Jobless news to me. Yes, his firm downsized. He was cut first. Scandal hurt his reputation. I thought, if they stop paying entirely, what's my risk? The bank could come after you, Benjamin admitted. But we have their notarized agreement. We'd sue for breach. The house, it's yours. Legally. The bank can't take it without a long fight. And our odds are good. It reassured me. But bitterness lingered, even apart. Sophia and Victor caused trouble. Their recklessness could threaten the house, my new life symbol. That evening, as I sat on the terrace watching the sunset, Victoria Hargrove joined me. She often stopped by, her company sharp and unsentimental. You seem troubled. Samuel, she said, settling across from me. Something wrong, I told her about the loan and Sophia's call. What will you do, she asked. Protect what's mine, I said. Even if it means losing my daughter for good. Victoria nodded. Sometimes the hardest choice is between family and your well-being. Most choose family, even if it means suffering. But that's not always right. Experience, I asked. Yes, she said, smiling sadly. My brother was an addict. I tried saving him for years, money, treatment, enduring his chaos. It nearly ruined my life, marriage, health. Finally, I chose myself and my husband, cut contact and aid. He died 3 years later. Part of me feels guilty, but I know it was the only way to survive. I understood. Family ties can become chains, dragging you down. Breaking them is the only way to live. Your daughter chose to deceive you, Victoria said. Now you choose, and no one can judge you. We sat in silence, watching the sky turn golden. I'd made my choice myself, my peace, my freedom from toxic ties. Even if it meant losing Sophia, family is precious when built on love and respect. When it's manipulation and pain, breaking it brings not grief, but liberation. I was free, truly free, for the first time in years. That freedom was worth every loss. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.